Good morning, party people. Happy Tuesday. This is Morgan Denny coming to you live from Portland, Oregon. Today is my first day home after being at the ICE sampler this weekend. And I will tell you guys, to say that it was just a great weekend would probably betray how awesome it was. If any of you guys don't know, the sampler is actually kind of a collection of the faculty of ICE getting a couple hours each to kind of give information on the topic that they're passionate about, also give some techniques or things to work on. But beyond that, I think the thing that I want to talk about today has to do with the type of community that was there. So being at Sampler this year, and I was there last year, but this year had something really, really special to it. Being at Sampler this year, the people that were there were what made it happen. I'm not going to say that the clinical elements that I learned weren't super important. And I'm not going to say that it wasn't this one speaker, this one technique that I learned. But I am going to say that the sense of community that was at the sampler this year was kind of off the charts. I mean, it was an amazing couple days filled with group training and learning about things that none of us had really considered, doing exercises that made us really sore, but really just the fact of being surrounded by humans that were doing some of the same things in the world that you were, and that had the positive energy and that were able to challenge themselves and that wanted to be a part of something bigger. And I feel like that's an important lesson that I've had a few hours to think about on the plane ride home last night. Just in order, or at least a good reminder that tells us that that's so important. You know, I woke up this morning and I'm tired, sure, but I also feel re-energized. And I think that that's a key component that we need to keep in mind that sometimes lives in the background of our world and our thoughts, right? So having that community, and honestly, whether it's in your neighborhood or in your workplace or, you know, through your sports team or whatever it is, having your community around you who is able to push you and kind of bring you to the next level, but also just be really supportive, I think is more important than we often think it is, you know? And to be surrounding yourself by those people constantly, or at least consistently, I think is also very important. You know, in our world today, it's very easy to get isolated. It's very easy to kind of get too busy to be able to reach out to the people around you and kind of get that sense of community and camaraderie with people. But we forget how important it is to our emotional happiness, to our state of being able to be efficient and effective, you know, and empowering to other people around us. And I think as PTs, like, we have really hard jobs, you know, like some would argue like, oh, I love my job. It's great. And I love my job too, but it also takes a lot of energy. And I think when you have a profession that takes a lot of energy and requires that energy to really do a good job with patient care, you have to make sure you surround yourself with people that can feed you that energy, that can make you feel reinvigorated again, where you don't end up feeling like you're dragging or you're burnt out or you're just, you know, don't have it anymore. And I think that sometimes we downplay that, but it's an important reminder, honestly, to just surround yourself with the people that really seem to light your fire, you know, that keep that thing burning, because it's really difficult in life to always have that optimistic, ongoing positive energy that starts from the inside. But it's really easy to maintain that when you're getting bumps from all around you with the people that you're with. You know, so number one, be sure that you appreciate and thank your coworkers if they're amazing people. And number two, if you don't have that sense of community where you live or where you work, be sure to try to find it. I feel like I've been to a lot of different Con Ed places, and I've taught and I have listened, and being with the Institute of Clinical Excellence has honestly given me a greater sense of community within the physical therapy world than I've ever found anywhere else. And it's becoming a family in a lot of ways. And I feel like everyone that goes to any ICE class can understand that idea of community, which I think is important to have within your professional world so that you feel able to ask questions, so that you don't feel like you have to know everything or you're just there to learn. Like in these courses, there's this sense of community that is built that allows you to have resources for later. Not only resources to understand clinical information, but resources that you can really pull energy from on those moments that you're feeling down or frustrated or like you're not quite sure where to go with things. Now, the other thing that I learned this weekend, or that I was reminded of, I should say, came while we were rock climbing yesterday in the Craft Boulders right outside of Red Rocks Canyon. While we were out there climbing, there were a handful of us. It was a gorgeous day, and some of the rocks were really easy, and we all just scrambled up or made it really quickly, no problem. Other ones were harder, and we had to put a little oomph into it to get to the top, or we had to try a couple times. But there was one rock where I was climbing and I very unexpectedly slipped. Now, don't freak out, I'm okay. But there was a crash pad underneath me and for those of you who don't know, crash pad in climbing is like a big foam mat that you set underneath you to pad your fall if you were to fall. So I hit the crash pad, I scratched my arm on some stuff. But the real thing is that when I fell and when I looked around, I realized that the people that I was with weren't spotting me or guarding me. They weren't close enough to watch me. And that wasn't actually their fault. That was more my fault, right? Like I hadn't communicated to them that it was really important to me for them to be spotting me while I was climbing, And I feel like that's also an important lesson, There are lots of things we do in life that are dangerous or that take a little bit more of a step into the unknown, where you're throwing caution to the side just a little bit. But you need to have that community around you, those people that have your back in those moments, but as much as those people can be there, sometimes they don't know how badly you need them, right? So in this situation, the people around me cared about me. Like they obviously wanted me to be fine and to do well, but at the same time, they didn't realize that I really needed them to be there for me. And so I think to translate this into kind of the workplace and also for our patients and into our communities is important. Like sometimes we are surrounded by the people that care about us, like by the people that can reinvigorate us, that we know and that we love and that love us back. But it's important for us to tell people when we need something different. So at work with your coworkers, like they may know and love you, but if you don't let them know that you need them in certain time frames, and whether that's help with patient care or support or whatever it is, like these things are important, right? And that goes for our patients too. They come to us and they're in some kind of a compromised state. They're injured, they're out of work, they're depressed because they can't do their sport or their thing, they can't move. It's important for us to kind of be able to help coach them to ask for the help they need because they don't always know. They don't know what they need to ask from us, but luckily that's our job and we're amazing at what we do, obviously, yeah. But at the same time, like we need to let them know that it's okay to ask for help as well, to reach out to their families. One of the first things that I tell some of my patients who have had a surgery that's going to take a long time to rehab is that they should buy chocolates or flowers or balloons or something for their partner at home because their partner is going to be going through things too. And they're going to have to ask for help a lot of times along the road. And for a lot of us humans, we don't love asking for help. So I think that one of the other important lessons, at least for me from this weekend, was as a reminder that even when you're surrounded by that community that loves you and cherishes you and can really build you up in terms of your energy, it's also important to be able to ask for help, to use your communication skills in order to get you a little bit farther and make sure that the people who are around you really understand your needs. Because it's not that the community doesn't want to give back to you and feed into your energy as a PT and a human and a person doing good things in the world, but sometimes they just don't know that you really need them. So those are some thoughts from the sampler. I will tell you guys, honestly, if you've never been to the Clinical of Institute Sampler, you should try to go next year. We've decided it's going to be in Vegas every year, and I guarantee you there will be way more excitement year after year, and there will definitely be some more climbing. So I hope you guys have a great day and that you take some of these messages to heart, and I will see you next time. The song for the day is an oldie but a goodie. It's Rusted Roots, Send Me On My Way, and I will post a link to it below on Facebook. Bye, guys.